The alarm screamed through the metal halls of Nexus Prime. Commander Vextar jumped up from his chair, his purple skin turning darker with worry. The biggest watching station in the galaxy never had alarms like this. "What is happening?" he shouted at his workers. A young officer ran to him shaking. "Sir, Fleet 47 is gone. All 30 ships, dead." Vextar felt cold. Fleet 47 was strong. They had the best weapons, the best shields. Gone? How? "We don't know, sir. They were watching the edge of our space. Then, nothing." The big screen in front of them turned on. Static filled the air. Then a voice came through, breaking up. "Nexus Prime, this is Captain Morden of Fleet 47. We found them, sir. The things that killed the Vrexhi ships last week, they're not in our files. Not anywhere. Sir, they're small ships, but they fight like nothing we've ever seen." The voice got scared. "Sir, they're coming at us, straight at us. They should be running. We have 30 ships. They have maybe 10. But they're not running. They're... Oh no. Oh no, no, no." The sound died. Vextar stared at the dark screen. In 300 years of space travel, no one attacked the Kultharian Empire. No one was that stupid. "Get me War Command," he said. "Now." 3 days before, on the other side of space, Captain Jinha stood on his ship's bridge. The Ancient's fury was not pretty. It used to carry rocks from dead planets. Now it carried weapons made from spare parts and hope. "Captain," Harin called, from her seat. She was watching the computer screens. "The big ship New Busan is sending a help signal. Vrexhi ships are coming for them." Jinha's hands made fists. The Vrexhi were bad aliens. Very bad. 3 months ago they came to the human worlds. They said humans were weak. They said humans should be slaves. When humans said no, the Vrexhi burned Colony 7. Every person, every child. Jinha still saw the fire in his dreams. "How many Vrexhi ships?" he asked. 3 big ones. Warships. They have big guns and strong shields." Jinha looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the New Busan was running. It was full of families, kids, old people. They were trying to get away from the Vrexhi, just like Jinha's people had tried to get away. But the Vrexhi were faster. "Captain," Harin said quietly, "we have 5 ships. They have 3, but their ships are much bigger, much stronger." Jinha knew this. Everyone knew this. Human ships were small, made from old mining tools and cargo boxes. The Vrexhi had real warships with weapons that could cut planets in half. But Jinha also knew something else. He knew what happened to his little sister on Colony 7. He knew what the Vrexhi did to people who could not fight back. "Get me all ship captains," he said. The screen turned on. 4 faces looked back at him. Captain Rex from the Gwangju Reaper, Captain Yoon from Daegu's Hammer, Captain Park from Soul's Fist, Captain Lee from Busan's Hope. They all looked tired, they all looked angry. "You saw the signal from New Busan," Jinha said. "Vrexhi warships, 3 of them." Rex smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "So, we fight?" "We fight. We will probably die," said Captain Yoon. "Yes," Jinha said. "We will probably die." "Good," said Captain Lee. "I was getting bored." This was not true. None of them were bored. They were all scared, but they were more angry than scared. "Remember," Jinha said to all of them, "we are not trying to win a pretty fight. We are trying to save those people. Do anything, use anything. If your ship breaks, use the pieces as weapons. If your weapons break, ram them. If you die, die taking them with you." "Like Colony 7, Rex said. "For Colony 7, Jinha said, "back." The human ships moved toward the Vrexhi like angry wasps. They did not move in neat lines like real warships. They moved fast and wild like hunters chasing prey. The Vrexhi commander Thekmor saw them coming. He laughed. 5 little ships, he said to his crew. "This will be easy." But it was not easy. The human ships split up. They came from all sides. The Vrexhi tried to turn their big guns to follow them, but the human ships were too fast, too small. Captain Rex took his ship straight at the biggest Vrexhi ship. The aliens shot at him with weapons that could melt steel. His ship's front armor burned away. His shields died. But Rex kept coming. "Sir," his crew shouted, "the ship is breaking." "Then we better hurry," Rex said. He crashed the Guangzhou Reaper right into the alien ship's weapon systems. Both ships exploded. But the alien ship was bigger. It died slower. Captain Yoon saw this. She saw Rex die to kill one enemy ship. Now there were 2 Vrexhai ships left, and 4 human ships. "All power to engines," she told her crew. "We're going to do something very stupid." She flew the Daegu's hammer between the 2 alien ships. They both shot at her. She should have died in seconds. But she did something the aliens did not expect. She turned off her engines. Her ship went dark. The aliens thought they killed her. While they were looking at her dead ship, Jin Ha and the other captains attacked from behind. Human weapons were weak, but they aimed for the right spots. Engine, ports, shield generators, weapon systems, the Vrexhai ships started to break. Commander Thekmore could not understand. These humans should be dead. Their ships were made of junk. Their weapons were toys. But they were winning. "How?" he screamed at his crew. "How are they doing this?" No one could answer him. The human ships moved like they were alive, like they were thinking together. When one ship was hurt, the others covered it. When one ship found a weakness, all of them attacked the same spot. It was not like any fighting the Vrexhai had ever seen. The last alien ship tried to run, but Captain Lee was waiting. The bosun's hope had moved around during the fight. Now, it was between the alien ship and escape. "This is for my daughter," Lee said. She had died on Colony 7. She was 8 years old. Lee's ship was smallest of all. The alien ship was 50 times bigger, but Lee flew straight at it anyway. The alien ship had to choose, fight the small ship in front, or turn around and fight the 3 ships behind. While it was choosing, all 4 human ships attacked at once. The alien ship died. Later, Jinha sat in his captain's chair. His ship was hurt badly. Half his crew was wounded, but they were alive, and the new Busan was safe. "Captain," Harin said, "we're getting signals, from everywhere. Other human ships want to know what happened. The Vrexhai are asking their command what went wrong and—" She stopped. "And what?" "Something else is watching us, big ships far away. They've been watching the whole time." Jinha looked at the stars again. Out there, other aliens were learning that humans existed. They were learning that humans could fight. He wondered what they thought about that. He wondered if they were smart enough to be scared. 3 weeks after the fight near New Busan, the Kaltharian War Council met in their biggest room. The room was so large that 50 people looked small inside it. But today, everyone was quiet. Fleet Admiral Kethnor stood at the front. Above, his head pictures of broken ships floated in the air. Vrexhai ships, big ones, all dead. 17 fights, he said. His voice was heavy. 17 times. These unknown ships have met the Vrexhai. Every time the Vrexhai lose almost everything. The council members looked at each other. The Vrexhai were not weak. They had conquered 40 star systems. Their ships were strong and their weapons were deadly. "Show us how they fight," said Councillor Vethra. She was old and had seen many wars. Kethnor touched a button. The floating pictures became a movie. It showed space. Then small ships appeared, flying toward bigger ones. "This is from the Battle of Dead Rock Station," Kethnor said. "Watch." The small human ships did not fight like normal ships. They did not stay in lines. They did not shoot from far away and hope to win slowly. Instead, they flew straight at the enemy ships. When the big alien ships shot at them, the small ships broke apart into groups. Some ships went high, some went low, some went left and right. But the strangest thing was what happened next. One human ship flew straight at the biggest enemy ship. The alien ship shot at it with enough power to destroy a city. The human ship's armor melted. Its weapons broke. But it kept flying forward. "Why doesn't it turn away?" asked a council member. They watched as the human ship crashed into the alien ship. Both ships exploded, but somehow, 2 more human ships were already flying through the explosion. They had hidden behind their friend's ship. Now they attacked the confused aliens from behind. They used their own ship as a trick, Kethnor said. The pilot died to help his friends win. That's impossible, said Counselor Kexmar. No one does that. Pilots try to live. These ones don't, Kethnor replied. Watch more. The movie showed another fight. This time a human ship was badly hurt. It could not fight anymore. So it flew to a group of enemy ships and exploded itself. The explosion was so big it broke 2 alien ships. They choose to die, to hurt their enemies more, Kethnor explained. But they're not just throwing their lives away. Each death helps their other ships win. The council was very quiet. How many of these ships are there? Asked Counselor Vethra. We think about 50, maybe less now. 50 ships have beaten the entire Vrex High Fleet? Yes. Far away, on a ship called Dagu's Hope, Dr. Quan was working. The ship used to study rocks and plants on new planets. Now it studied alien weapons and ships. Quan was thin and tall. His hands were always dirty from working with machines. Around him, pieces of broken alien ships covered every table. Captain Jinha, he said into his communicator. I found something important. Jinha's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired. For 3 weeks, his ships had been fighting the Vrex High across 5 star systems. They had won every fight, but they were losing people. What did you find, Quan? Quan picked up a piece of blue metal. It was warm and had strange symbols on it. This is from a Vrex High shield generator, he said. I've been studying how their shields work. They're very strong, but they have a problem. What kind of problem? Their shields change frequency every few seconds. It makes them hard to break. But for a tiny moment when they change, there's a gap, a hole. Jinha leaned forward. How long is this hole? 0.03 seconds, less than a blink. Jinha was quiet for a moment. That's not very long. No, Quan agreed. You would have to shoot at exactly the right time, and you would have to be very close, close enough that the explosion would kill us too, Jinha finished. Yes. Jinha smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile he made when he was planning something dangerous. Send this information to all ship captains, he said. We have work to do. Captain Rex was on his new ship, the Guangzhou, Reaper 2. His first ship had died in the fight to save New Busan, but somehow Rex had lived. His crew said he was too mean to die. Rex was not mean. He was just very angry at the aliens who killed human families. Captain, his gunner said, we're getting the information from Dr. Quan. Rex read it on his screen. 0.03 seconds, a gap in their shields, a chance. Get me Captain Park, he said. Captain Park's face appeared. She was young, but her eyes were old from seeing too much fighting. You see Quan's report? Rex asked. Yes, we would have to get very close. Close enough to smell their fear, Rex said. Park almost smiled. I like that idea. The next Vrex High fleet was bigger. Commander Zexthor had brought 60 ships to crush these annoying little human vessels. He was sure that more ships meant an easy victory. He was wrong. The human ships came from all directions at once, but this time, they did something new. Instead of crashing into the alien ships, they flew very close and then shot at exactly the right moment. Their weapons were still weak, but now they went through the alien shields like they were not there. Impossible, Zexthor screamed. Our shields are perfect. But they were not perfect anymore. The humans had found the gap. One by one, the Vrex High ships started to die. Not from big explosions, but from small holes in exactly the right places. The humans were shooting at shield generators, weapon systems, and engines. They know our ships better than we do, Zexthor's officer said. Rex flew the Guangzhou Reaper 2 straight at Zexthor's command ship. At exactly the right moment, he fired. His shot went through the shield and hit the main power system. The alien ship went dark. This is Captain Rex to all human ships, he said on the radio. Target their engines. Keep them alive, but make sure they can't run. Why keep them alive? Asked Captain Park. Because, Rex said, we want them to go home and tell their friends what happened here. After the fight, Zexthor sat in his dark ship and watched the human vessels fly away. They had not killed him or his crew. They had just broken his ship so it could not fight. But they had done something worse. They had made him afraid. These humans were not like any enemy he had ever fought. They learned too fast, they were too willing to die, and worst of all, they were getting better. In his report to Rex High Command, he wrote, "Recommend immediate retreat from human space. They are not a normal species. They fight like they have nothing to lose and everything to gain." But Rex High Command did not listen. They sent more ships. On Dagu's Hope, Dr. Quan was working on new pieces from the latest fight. Harin was with him, helping to understand the alien technology. "Quan," she said, "I've been thinking about their tactics. Every time we fight them, they send exactly 3 times as many ships as last time. They think more ships means they will win," Quan said. "But what if we use that against them?" Harin asked. "What if we let them think they destroyed some of our ships, but we actually hid them?" Quan stopped working and looked at her. "You mean trick them into thinking we're weaker than we are?" "Exactly. Then when they send the right number of ships to beat our weak fleet, we surprise them with our real fleet." Quan smiled. It was the first real smile he had made in weeks. "Ha-Rin," he said, "I think you just figured out how to win this war." From across space, the Caltharian Empire watched and took notes. These humans were not just lucky. They were not just brave. They were learning to fight better than anyone had ever fought before. And that made them very, very dangerous. Agent Yithkar was the best spy in the Caltharian Empire. His job was to find secrets that others could not find. Today he had the hardest job of his life. "Find the ghost ships," his boss had told him. "Find out what they are and where they come from." The ghost ships were what the Caltharians called the human vessels. They appeared, fought, and then disappeared. No one knew where they went. No one could track them. Yithkar sat in his fast spy ship, looking at the empty space where a big fight had happened 2 days ago. His computers showed the remains of 12 Rex-High warships floating in pieces, but there were no human bodies, no human ship parts, nothing. "Computer," he said, "scan for any signs of the unknown ships." "Scanning complete," the computer replied. "No traces found." This was impossible. In every space fight, both sides left pieces behind. Broken metal, dead bodies, fuel leaks. Something. But the humans left nothing. Yithkar had studied 17 battle sites like this one. Every time he found the same thing. Dead alien ships and empty space where the humans had been. "They're like ghosts," he said to himself. "They fight, they kill, then they vanish." What Yithkar did not know was that the humans were hiding very close to him. Inside a big dead rock floating in space, Captain Jinha watched the alien spy ship through his secret cameras. The rock looked normal from outside, but inside, humans had built a hidden base. "He's been out there for 6 hours, Harin said. She was now in charge of keeping the human fleet hidden. Do you think he knows we're here?" "No," Jinha said. "But he's smart. He'll figure it out eventually." The human fleet had changed a lot in 2 months of fighting. They had learned that winning fights was not enough. They had to survive too. So they had built secret bases inside old rocks, dead space stations, and broken moons. When they finished a fight, they would hide in these places. The aliens would come looking and find nothing. "Captain," said Jake Morrison, walking into the control room. Jake was older than the other humans. He had been a soldier on Earth before the aliens came. Now he helped plan their secret operations. "Jake," Jinha said, "how are our hidden bases doing?" "Very well," Jake replied. "We now have 23 bases across 5 star systems. The Vrexhai think we have maybe 10 ships left. They don't know we actually have 47. This was the humans' biggest secret. Every time they lost ships, In a fight, they pretended to lose more than they really did. When alien ships exploded, human ships would fly into the explosion and disappear. The aliens thought the humans died in the explosion, but the humans were just hiding. And our new plan? Jinha asked. Jake smiled. Haren's trap is ready. The Vrexhai are sending their biggest fleet ever to destroy our last 10 ships. They don't know that all 47 of our ships will be waiting for them. Haren was in the deep part of the hidden base, working with Dr. Kwan. They had turned a storage room into a planning center. The walls were covered with pictures of alien ships and star maps. The Vrexhai are very predictable, Haren explained to the ship captains who were listening on the communicator. Every time they think they destroy some of our ships, they send exactly 3 times more ships to finish us off. Captain Rex nodded on the screen. So if they think we have 10 ships left, they'll send 30 ships to kill us. Exactly, Haren said. But we'll have all 47 ships hidden in the asteroid field near Binary Station. When their 30 ships come to fight our 10 ships, we'll surround them. Dr. Kwan held up a new device. It was small and black with blinking lights. This is a shield disruptor, he said. I built it from studying all the alien ship pieces we've collected. When we activate it, every Vrexhai ship in the area will lose their shields for 10 seconds. 10 seconds, said Captain Park. That's enough time to end them all. If everything goes according to plan, Kwan said. Rex laughed. When has anything ever gone according to plan? Never, Jinha said. That's why we always have backup plans, and backup plans for our backup plans. 3 days later, the Vrexhai fleet came. Commander Dexfor led 30 of their best warships toward Binary Station. Intelligence reports said the last human ships were hiding there. This will end today, Dexfor told his officers. These annoying pests have embarrassed us for too long. As his ships got closer to the station, his sensors found exactly what he expected. 10 small human ships trying to hide behind the old space station. All ships attack formation, Dexfor ordered. Destroy them all. But as his ships moved to attack, something strange happened. More human ships appeared. They came from inside. Big rocks. They came from behind broken space stations. They came from everywhere. Sir, his officer shouted. There are more of them, many more. Dexfor watched in horror as 47 human ships surrounded his 30 ships. He had been tricked. All ships retreat, he ordered. But it was too late. Dr. Kwan activated his shield disruptor. Every Vrexhai ship suddenly had no protection. For 10 seconds, they were completely open to attack. The humans did not waste a single second. 47 ships fired at once. Not at random targets, but at exactly the right spots on each alien ship. Engines, weapons, power systems. In 10 seconds, the entire Vrexhai fleet was disabled. But the humans did not destroy them. Instead, they did something that confused everyone. Attention. Vrexhai ships, Jinha said on the radio. You are defeated but not dead. You will go home now. You will tell your leaders what happened here. You will tell them that humans do not want to conquer anyone. We just want to be left alone. But, Jinha's voice got cold. If you come back, if you threaten our families again, we will not be so kind next time. Commander Dexfor sat in his powerless ship and listened. These humans could have killed him and all his people, but they chose not to. This scared him more than dying would have. Agent Yithkar had been watching the whole fight from far away. His computers recorded everything. When he got back to Caltharian space, he went straight to his superiors. Sir, he said to Intelligence Director Rothven, I have completed my investigation of the ghost ships. What did you find? Yithkar put a data crystal on the director's desk. They are called humans, sir, and we have a very big problem. Director Rothven inserted the crystal into his computer. Pictures and videos filled the air around them. They are not ghosts, Yithkar continued. They are something much worse. They are a species that has learned to turn weakness into strength. The director watched videos of human ships doing impossible things. Ships that should have died, but lived. Attacks that should have failed, but succeeded. Their technology is primitive, Yithkar said. Their ships are small and weak, but they fight like no species we have ever seen. They use their enemies' strengths against them. They sacrifice themselves to save others. They learn from every mistake. How many ships do they have? The director asked. Intelligence suggests less than 50 ships total. But sir, Yithkar paused. I don't think numbers matter with these humans. They have something that makes numbers meaningless. What? They refuse to lose, sir. No matter what happens, they refuse to accept defeat. And somehow that refusal becomes reality. Director Rothman was quiet for a long time. Finally, he asked, What do you recommend? Stay away from them, sir. Far away. These humans are not conquerors. They don't want our territory or our resources. They just want to protect their families. But if someone threatens their families, they become the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. The director looked at the videos again. Small human ships defeating giant alien fleets. Impossible victories that should never have happened. File. A report, he said. Code black. Highest priority. Title it Species of Interest. Immediate monitoring required. What classification should I give them, sir? The director thought about this. In all the galaxy's history, only 3 species had ever been given the highest threat rating. Code red, he said finally. Approach with extreme caution. As Yithkar left to write his report, the director kept watching the videos of human ships. Somewhere out there, less than 50 small ships had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy, and they didn't even know it yet. The Vrexhai High Command was angry, very angry. Supreme Leader Vex Nagoth slammed his fist on the metal table. Around him, his top commanders sat in silence. They were all afraid to speak. 6 months, he roared. 6 months of defeats, our mighty fleets destroyed by metal junk held together with hope and stupidity. General Morthek, the oldest of the commanders, finally spoke. Supreme Leader, perhaps we should consider making peace with these humans. They do not seem to want conquest. They only defend their territory. Vex Nagoth's eyes burned with rage. Peace? With inferior creatures? Never. He pressed a button. A huge hologram appeared above the table. It showed 12 enormous ships. Each ship was the size of a small moon. The World Killer Fleet, Vex Nagoth said with pride. 12 ships that have never lost a battle. Ships that can destroy entire planets. The commanders looked at the hologram with awe. The World Killer Fleet was their ultimate weapon. It had conquered 40 star systems without losing a single ship. We will send all 12 ships to human space, Vex Nagoth continued. They will destroy every human world, every human ship, every human life. This ends now. General Morthek felt cold fear in his stomach. Supreme Leader, perhaps we should send scouts first. Learn more about human tactics. No more waiting, Vex Nagoth shouted. The World Killer Fleet leaves tomorrow. In 1 week, there will be no more humans in the galaxy. Far away, on the hidden human base inside asteroid XK-739, alarms were ringing. Doctor Quan ran into the command center holding a data pad. His face was white with fear. Jinha, Harin, Jake, everyone, come quickly. Captain Jinha was already there, along with Harin and Jake Morrison. They all looked at Quan with worry. What is it? Jinha asked. Quan put his datapad on the main table. The screen showed pictures from their spy satellites near Vrex High Space. The World Killer Fleet, Quan said quietly. All 12 ships. They're coming for us. Everyone in the room became very quiet. They all knew about the World Killer Fleet. It was famous across the galaxy for destroying anything in its path. Jake Morrison studied the pictures carefully. How big are they? Each ship is 15 kilometers long, Quan replied. Their weapons can crack planets. Their shields are 10 times stronger than normal warships. Harin sat down heavily in her chair. How long until they reach our colonies? 4 days, Quan said. Maybe 5 if we're lucky. Jinha looked around the room at his friends. These people had followed him through impossible battles. They had won when winning was impossible, but this felt different. This felt final. How many people live in our colonies now? He asked quietly. 2 million, Jake replied. Men, women, children, all the survivors from the worlds the Vrexhai already destroyed. Jinha closed his eyes. 2 million people counting on 47 small ships to save them from 12 planet killers. Captain, Harin said softly, we could evacuate. Load everyone onto transport ships and run. Run where? Jinha asked. They'll hunt us across the galaxy, and even if we escape, what kind of life is that? Always running, always hiding, always afraid. Rex's voice came over the communicator from his ship. Jinha, I've been listening. We all have. Every ship captain, every crew member. More voices joined in. Captain Park, Captain Lee, Captain Yoon. All the humans who had survived months of impossible battles. We're not running, Rex said firmly. We didn't run when they killed Colony 7. We didn't run when they outnumbered us 10-1. We're not starting now. Rex is right, said Captain Park. Our families are on those colonies. If we can't protect them, then what's the point of anything? Jinha felt something warm in his chest. Pride. These people, his friends, were choosing to face certain death rather than abandon their loved ones. All right, he said. We fight. But how do we fight 12 ships that can destroy planets? Dr. Kwan had been very quiet, thinking hard. Now he looked up with a strange expression. I have an idea, he said slowly. But it's completely insane. Good, Jake Morrison said. Our best ideas are always completely insane. Kwan activated his computer. Pictures of the world killer ships appeared, with detailed diagrams of their internal systems. I've been studying these ships for months, Kwan explained. They're incredibly powerful, but they have one weakness. He pointed to the center of each ship diagram. Their power cores are connected. When they fly in formation, they share energy to make their shields stronger. But if one ship's power core exploded, the explosion would chain to the other ships, Harin finished. They'd all destroy each other. Exactly, but there's a problem. What problem? Jinha asked. Someone would have to get inside their formation, close enough to touch one of the ships, close enough to manually overload their power core. Everyone understood what this meant. It was a suicide mission. Whoever flew that close would die when the ships exploded. How close? Rex asked over the communicator. Very close, Kwan replied. You'd have to be inside their shield barrier, maybe 50 meters from their hull. And how long would it take to overload their power core? 30 seconds, maybe 40 if you're careful. Rex laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. So someone flies into the middle of 12 planet killers, gets close enough to kiss their hull, sits there for 30 seconds while they shoot at us, then dies when everything explodes? Yes, Kwan said quietly. I'll do it, Rex said immediately. No, said Captain Park. I'll do it. No me, said Captain Lee. Soon every ship captain was volunteering to die. Jinha held up his hand for silence. No one is dying alone, he said firmly. If we do this, we all do it together. Jinha, Harin said, we can't risk all 47 ships. If the plan fails, there won't be anyone left to protect the colonies. Then we make sure the plan doesn't fail, Jinha replied. Jake Morrison had been studying the tactical data. Actually, he said slowly, I think we can do this. Not just survive it, but actually do it and live. Everyone looked at him with surprise. The explosion will create a massive shockwave, Jake continued. If we time it right, we can use that shockwave to push our ships away from the blast, like riding a wave. That's impossible, Harin said. The timing would have to be perfect. 1 second too late and we all die. Then we don't be late, Jinha said simply. Dr. Kwan was running calculations on his computer. It could work, he said with amazement. It's crazy, but it could work. We'd have to coordinate perfectly. Every ship would need to be in exactly the right position. And someone still has to get close enough to start the explosion, Rex pointed out. Jinha smiled. For the first time in days, it was a real smile. That's the easy part. We all go together, all 47 ships flying straight at 12 planet killers. They'll think we're all on a suicide run, Harin said. We are, Jinha replied. But sometimes the only way to survive is to be willing to die. Jake Morrison looked around the room at these incredible humans. In 6 months, they had grown from desperate refugees into something unprecedented. They had learned to turn every disadvantage into a weapon. Now they were planning to use their own deaths as a tool for victory. "When do we leave?" Jake asked. Jinha looked at the star charts showing the World Killer fleet's approach. "Tomorrow," he said. "We meet them at the Crimson Nebula. 47 ships against 12 planet killers." "Those are terrible odds," Harin said. Rex's voice came over the communicator, filled with determination. "Good. I was getting tired of easy fights." As the meeting ended and everyone prepared for what might be their last battle, Agent Yithkar watched from his hidden spy ship, far away. He had been monitoring human communications for weeks. Now he sent an urgent message to Caltharian Command. "The humans are about to attempt something impossible. If they succeed, the balance of power in this galaxy will change forever. Recommend immediate evacuation of all Caltharian assets from the surrounding sectors." His message ended with a single line that would be remembered for centuries. Never underestimate a species that treats suicide missions as tactical solutions. The Crimson Nebula was beautiful. Red and orange gas clouds twisted through space like a cosmic storm. It was also the perfect place for the most important battle in human history. Agent Yithkar watched from his spy ship, hidden in the nebula's edge. His instruments recorded everything. Somewhere in galactic history archives, this battle would be studied for thousands of years, if anyone survived to study it. 12 Vrex-high world killer ships moved through the nebula like metal mountains. Each ship was 15 kilometers long and armed with enough weapons to destroy a planet. They flew in perfect formation, their shields connected and sharing power. Supreme Commander Vex Nagoth stood on the bridge of the lead ship, Death's Glory. Today, he would end the human problem forever. "Sir," his officer reported, "we detect small ships approaching, 47 of them." Vex Nagoth laughed. 47 ships against 12 world killers? These humans truly are insane. But as he watched the approaching ships on his screen, something felt wrong. The human ships were not trying to hide. They were not using clever tricks. They were flying straight at the world killer fleet like an arrow shot from a bow. "Sir," the officer said with confusion, "they're not slowing down. They're coming directly at us." "It's a suicide attack," Vex Nagoth said. "They know they cannot win, so they choose to die with honor. Pathetic." What Vex Nagoth did not understand was that humans had a different idea about honor. Captain Jin Hai stood on the bridge of his ship, Inchin's Fury. Around him, his crew worked calmly at their stations. They all knew they might die in the next few minutes, but they also knew that 2 million human families were counting on them. "Harin," Jinha said to his tactical officer. "Time to target?" 3 minutes and counting," she replied. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly on the controls. Jinha opened communications to all 47 ships. "This is Jinha," he said. "In 3 minutes we will be in position. Remember the plan. We have one chance to get this right." Rex's voice came through the communicator. "Jinha, it's been an honor serving with you." "The honor is mine, Rex," Jinha replied, "all of you. You are the bravest people in the galaxy." Captain Park spoke next. "For Colony 7. "For our families," added Captain Lee. "For humanity," said Captain Yoon. Dr. Kwan was on the science ship, Daegu's Hope, monitoring the world killer ships. "Jinha," he said, "I'm reading their power signatures. The connection between their ships is stronger than we thought. The explosion will be very big." "How big?" Jinha asked. "Big enough to destroy everything within 50 kilometers. Harin looked at Jinha with worry. "Captain, that's larger than we calculated. We might not be able to ride the shockwave to safety." Jinha thought for a moment. They could still turn back. They could evacuate the colonies and run, live to fight another day. But he thought about the children on those colonies, kids who had already lost their first homes to alien weapons. They deserve better than a life of running and hiding. "We continue," Jinha said firmly. "All ships prepare for attack." The world killer fleet opened fire when the human ships got close. The sky filled with beams of energy that could melt steel. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers as some human ships were hit. But the humans did not slow down. The Soul's fist took a direct hit that tore off half the ship. Captain Yoon should have retreated. Instead, she used her dying ship as a shield for 2 other vessels. The Busan's Hope lost all its weapons in the first minute of battle. Captain Lee flew it straight into the enemy formation anyway, drawing fire away from the ships that could still fight. One by one, human ships were destroyed. But each death served a purpose. Each sacrifice helped the other ships get closer to their target. 15 ships down, Ha-Rin reported. Her voice was tight with emotion. Understood, Jin-Ha replied. Continue the attack. Rex flew the Gwangju, Reaper 2 between 2 world killers using their own size against them. The alien ships were so big they could not turn fast enough to track his small vessel. I'm in position, Rex called out, beginning manual overload of their power core. Rex's ship attached itself to the hull of the lead world killer. Through the metal walls, he could hear the alien crew running and shouting in panic. But Rex only needed 30 seconds. He connected his ship's systems to the alien power core and began the overload sequence. Numbers counted down on his screen. 30, 29, 28. Rex, Jin-Ha's voice came through the radio. Get out of there. Negative, Rex replied calmly. Someone needs to make sure this works. 20, 19, 18. The world killer tried to shake Rex's ship off its hull. Weapons fired at point-blank range trying to destroy the small human vessel, but Rex held on. 10, 9, 8. It's been real, friends, Rex said. Take care of each other. 3, 2, 1. The explosion was like a new sun being born. Agent Yithkar's ship was 50 kilometers away, and even there the light was blinding. The lead world killer's power core exploded. The energy traveled instantly to the other 11 ships through their connected shields. In less than 3 seconds, all 12 world killers detonated in a chain reaction that lit up the entire nebula. But through the fire and light, Yithkar saw something impossible. Most of the human ships were still alive. They had calculated the explosion perfectly. At the exact moment of detonation, they had positioned themselves to use the shockwave like a giant hand pushing them to safety. Ships that should have been vaporized came flying out of the explosion, damaged but intact. Jin-Ha's ship tumbled through space, its engines dead but its hull unbroken. Ha-Rin worked frantically at her controls trying to restore power. Captain, she said with amazement, we're alive. 32 ships survived the explosion. Jin-Ha could not believe it. They had destroyed 12 planet killers and most of his people had lived through it. Rex, he called into the communicator. Rex, do you copy? Only silence answered. Captain Rex and 14 other brave humans had died to save 2 million lives. They had paid the price that made victory possible. All ships, Jin-Ha said quietly, form up on me. We're going home. 3 days later, Jake, Morrison sat in the command center of their hidden base writing reports. The victory at Crimson Nebula had changed everything. Admiral, Heron said, walking into the room. Jin-Ha had promoted Jake to Admiral after the battle. We're receiving messages from across the galaxy. What kind of messages? Surrender requests. The Vrexhai High Command wants to discuss peace terms. 17 other species are asking for diplomatic meetings. And the Caltharian Empire wants to open formal relations. Jake leaned back in his chair. 6 months ago, humans had been unknown refugees fleeing alien attacks. Now the galaxy wanted to be their friends. What about our people? Jake asked. The colonies? Captain Jin-Ha's rescue fleets have reached all the evacuation sites. Everyone is safe. We can start bringing families back to their homes. Jake nodded slowly. They had won more than just a battle. They had won the right to exist. And Dr. Kwan's estimates about peace? He thinks we have at least 10 years before anyone is stupid enough to attack humans again. Heron sat down across from Jake. Admiral, I've been thinking, what do we do now? We're not refugees anymore. We're not just survivors. What are we? Jake looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, human families were building new lives on safe worlds. Human children were growing up free from fear. We're teachers, Jake said finally. We're going to teach the galaxy what it means to never give up, what it means to protect the people you love, what it means to be human. In the Caltharian Empire's main archive building, Commander Vextar finished writing the most important report of his career. Species file, human classification, apex predator, handle with extreme caution. These beings do not fight to conquer territory or gain resources. They fight to protect their families. This makes them far more dangerous than any conquering army. Humans treat impossible situations as puzzles to be solved. They use their weaknesses as weapons. They turn sacrifice into strategy. Most importantly, they refuse to accept defeat. This refusal somehow becomes reality. Personal observation. We have studied warfare for centuries. We understand tactics, strategy, and the mathematics of battle. But humans have taught us something new. Sometimes the most powerful weapon in the galaxy is not a bigger gun or a stronger shield. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is the absolute refusal to let evil win. They call it hope. And hope, backed by human determination, appears to be unstoppable. Final recommendation: never threaten a human family. These beings will cross the galaxy, face impossible odds, and sacrifice everything to protect the people they love. And they will find a way to win. As Vextar filed his report, he looked up at the stars and wondered what other impossible things humans would accomplish. He was certain of only one thing: the galaxy would never be boring again. Somewhere in human space, children played in gardens while their parents worked to rebuild their worlds. They were safe because 47 small ships had faced 12 planet killers and refused to lose. The humans had won more than a war. They had won the right to write their own destiny among the stars, and every species in the galaxy now knew. When humans make a promise to protect their families, that promise becomes the most powerful force in the universe.